Hey, good afternoon. So this is AubRay. My name is Osama. 8 physicians and 7 years. That's typically what it takes to diagnose a rare disease. Um, that's a really long time. And meanwhile, days of school are lost, and work is lost as well. Um, 10% of Americans suffer from these kind of rare diseases, but unfortunately, there is no standard set of tests that can safely diagnose them.
So we have the technology currently to do label-free analysis. Oh, sorry. We have the technology currently to do label-free analysis of just mass spectrum like fluids like urine or blood samples. But what the technology is limited in the sense now is that we can only run about one sample at a time. Now you could, blow like $2 million on a really advanced machine and get 8 channels and do 8 at a time. But that's still, not feasible for testing a wide spectrum of rare diseases that may have a diverse set of biomarkers. So we came up with a solution to this. We have a multiplexed gold nanoparticle-based chip called AubRay, which stands for Gold Biosensor Array, that we're going to run through and show you the two-phase setup we have to developing the product. So first of all, though some of these machines may cost $2 million, the open source alternatives only cost about $600. And it's good enough that you can then say that a patient has a particular isoform of some protein or whatever you're testing for, whatever biomarker. Not going to give you single molecule resolution, but you don't need that if you're a researcher just trying to eliminate certain people from your studies, see who actually falls into your categories. So we send out the kit to people. It tests for a particular antibody, kind of doing what the competition can already do, but won't do for a lot of these rare diseases that just aren't profitable for them to develop single tests for, right? You're going to have, whatever, 500 tests prescribed a year, and the tests are going to cost the company a lot of money to make. We'll jump in and make that test. We're not expecting a huge profit from any particular one. And in return, they're sending us back data on how well our test did, how well it isolated certain patients, and what it said about those patients in terms of treatment prospects and that kind of thing. So we begin aggregating first 1, 2, then up to 10, 100 of antibodies from various researchers. We can then combine into one single chip. So what we do is we coat the chip in a photoresist first. We don't just have it be blank gold. We put a photoresist on it first, and we go up with a laser. We etch out one line, flow over the first antibody. It binds, right? And then we etch out another line, flow over the second antibody, so on and so forth. Once you have a list of 50, 100, 1,000 antibodies, you run your sample perpendicular to these antibodies and test all of them at once in procession with one of these devices. So once we have our system running, researchers have helped us get each of these antibodies approved. We can now start having physicians send us in a sample. They have a patient and they're like, they have fatigue and they have, complain about maybe head pain or neck pain, but I don't really know what to do with them. There's not really any diagnosis I know. So instead of sending them off to some other physician who may have some help and so on and so forth, going up to 8, on average, that's the average number, they send us a sample for very cheap, right? We want to be their first thing they reach to when they can't explain the patient, and we send them back contextual analysis. We give them back, okay, we know all the proteins that are maybe misfolded in this person, and we can tell you what those mean with a demo that Osama's now going to show you.
Awesome. So what makes this product really powerful? What makes it really powerful is the physician portal we have available. After the physician gets the test results returned from the center, we have a list that comes up here and gives you all of the malfunctioning proteins. They're listed in relevance order, so the one on the top is probably the one that is going to catch the physician's attention the most. Each protein card has a bunch of information about it, its detection range, its outcomes, and its related conditions, along with a useful description of what it is. And additionally, you could go in and search for keywords, things like that, and find out more specifically what you're looking for. Yeah, sorry about that. Go. Yeah, thank you.
So if I understood correctly, is your premise that you have an immunodiagnostic for the various rare diseases?
Exactly, and a single chip. We can send out for $100. Correct. We will compete in the clinical space where there is no other competitor.
Thank you.
So how long do you envision that initial process where you start to build up your catalog of antibodies to take, because the numbers may be small for a long time?
I think what we'll do is we'll kind of comb the literature at first and try to at least have a set of array within about 100 within a year, so that we can at least have the kind of most common rare diseases on a chip for people to screen against. and try to start clinical trial or, yeah, clinically approved trials.
And so it's not economical for any of the big players to do this. Why would it be economical for you?
Because we're not running one test at a time. We're not making a single antibody for a single test. We're selling the whole thing, bulk people out, just going for it. So you're not looking at a single patient who may have a rare disease that a doctor's like, okay, I can say, maybe you have this one disease, so I can order this $200 kit. They can order our $100 kit just for every person they can't explain. So we're selling one kit for the 10% of Americans, not a million kits for the millions of different individuals. So that's what our price point is based on.
And on top of that, we're bootstrapping by selling to research labs to start with just the chips and the systems to test on. And then when we get to the clinic, we can just charge the MDs directly.
And where will you make these?
I used to run a microarray company, and so I can run them in the lab here, or I have some robots at Sinai, but I'd probably outsource the printing of the chips when we get up to scale.